Thank you for tuning into the Phillip Show. My name is Danielle DeVita. I am a relationship and femininity coach. I ran across this video on TikTok where a man asked a woman what is the one thing that she regrets in her life. So go ahead and take a listen.
How old are you?
72.
What is something you regret the most in your life?
I regret that I had to get a divorce and my kids were like 7 and 12 years old. I never wanted to get a divorce. I hung in there as long as I could for 17 years.
So you stayed in a relationship that you weren't happy with for 17
Well, I
years?
wasn't unhappy the whole 17 years, but I was partially unhappy, like not really fulfilled, nothing like what I have now.
So if someone's in a relationship that they're unhappy with and they're in the early stages of it, what would you tell them?
Well, you have to have open communication and talk to each other. You got to look at what is making you unhappy and see if that person is willing to work and meet you halfway. And if they're not willing to work at it with you or acknowledge what the problems are or acknowledge your feelings, then you should get out of the relationship.
When I think about this, I think about so many women saying they're unhappy, so they don't want to stay in a relationship. And the way the man phrased it, he was like, "So you were unhappy out of 17 years," and she's like, "Well, I wasn't unhappy the entire time." But one of the things that she's learned from it is start with communicating, and I think this is a big thing that a lot of people aren't communicating in their relationships. So they say, "Well, I'm unhappy." They're not fully articulating what they're unhappy about and how they're going to come to a resolution, and then it ends in divorce. She said she regrets that, which means usually when people regret it, it means that there's something that they wish they could have done then that they know now. So maybe she feels like, if she could go back, there would be a certain way she would communicate and get her point across, so there can be a resolution. Sometimes people say, "Hey, good for you, that you got our relationship and now you're in something fulfilling." But I really believe that a lot of people can salvage the relationships they currently have. So yeah, you may get something, different, and that can work. But if you truly think about it and look back, could you have made your previous relationships work? Could you have made it work by how you communicated, the respect, the trust? Could you have done those things? Would you do it all over again? Or if you had the chance, would you change the way you phrased something? Would you change the decisions you made, your actions at the time? Maybe you were being petty. Maybe you broke your vows. Maybe you did not articulate something in a healthy manner and it spinballed into something that now it resulted in a divorce. Would you make changes? So a lot of times we're talking about they're not happy. No, you're not going to be happy at every second of every moment. That's in any relationship. There's going to be down times, and I think that we need to realize that you're not going to be happy at every moment, but what can you do to work through it? What can you do to get through it? It's just like life. Life, you're not going to be happy every moment of every day. But does that mean you want to end it? No. So, as someone who's been married for a good amount of time, I think that once you realize that there are going to be highs and lows in your relationship, but the way you get through it is together. How are you going to communicate together? Now, there's going to be people, if they're not going to work at it, they're not going to put in the effort, as she said, then and I talk this about often, if you've watched my content, I talk about crossroads. You tell someone, what you want for a healthy relationship, and if they want that too, you guys are going to come to a resolution. If they don't want it, then at some point you're going to have to walk away because it takes effort. If the other person is saying, "I'm not putting any effort, I'm not going to do anything to make the relationship better and healthier," then you have no choice, right? So, but if both of you are saying, "You know what, we're going to put in the work. It's not going to be easy, but we're going to put in the work," then that's different. And so again, if you listen to her, she's 72. Do you want to have regrets? Do you want to have those regrets, or do you want to fix and salvage your relationships that you can now? So for those who are out there and you are currently in the grunt of your relationships and you're like trying to make it work, go ahead and do what you need to do to have that resolution. Have the communication you need, even if you need a third party involved. Go ahead and get that professional third party, not friends, but get that professional third party involved if you have to make that relationship work, to salvage it so you don't have regrets. No shoulda, coulda, wouldas, right? All right. So in the words of Nelson Mandela, I never lose. I either win or learn. So what are you going to do? Are you going to wait 72 till you learn, or are you going to learn now how to make relationships work? All right. So thank you so much for tuning into the Phillip Scott Show. Again, my name is Danielle DeVita. For more of my content, you can visit me on social media, Mrs. Danielle DeVita. If you have not, go ahead and download the African Diaspora News Channel app. It is a great app. We're trying to reach 10,000 members. So go ahead and download it and then pick a membership. Again, they have monthly, quarterly, and yearly membership. I am a proud member, and I hope that you become one too. Take care.